Welcome to Serving Pancakes with League One Volleyball. I'm your host, Tiffany Oshinsky, and I'm inviting you to join me as I go behind the scenes with some of the most important people in volleyball. From funny anecdotes to words of wisdom and some fun facts sprinkled in about your favorite sport, Serving Pancakes will satiate your appetite and have you asking for seconds. So take a seat while I serve you up some pancakes.
Hey.
Hi, come on in.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thanks for coming over and having some pancakes.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, are you a big pancake fan?
I am.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
So what is your go-to? If you could create your own signature pancake to sell at your favorite diner, what would it be?
I love blueberry pancakes with butter and I think just syrup. My favorite. Yeah.
All right. So a little butter, make it a little sweet. I'm gonna make your signature pancake actually right now. So it's blueberries. Mm-hmm. Blueberries. You got all the little ones. Where
Yeah,
are the
I know.
big ones? What? Butter.
Yes.
And then syrup.
Yep. What's your favorite?
So my favorite is actually doing like Nutella with M&Ms. Get a little crunch.
Oh, nice.
A little sweetness. A little.
Okay. I'll just do that too.
Yeah, I don't have the M&Ms, but
Yeah.
I mean strawberries with it too. I love because it's like having chocolate covered strawberries with the pancake. So that's
funny.
that's another good one. But it's all combo right there.
Yeah.
I love it. Did you have pancakes growing up as a child, like with your family? Is it a tradition?
Yeah. My mom makes the best pancakes.
What is her magic touch?
I don't know. She just knows how to like flip it perfectly. I don't know. It's so, yeah. I think it's when the bubbles start to come up. I think they say that.
I have tried that, and it is not always
know.
the right thing.
Something about the temperature has to be perfect or it's going to get burnt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. She's perfect.
Growing up, before you ever touched a volleyball, what did you want to be?
Wow, I'm like...
We're going deep to start.
I know, yeah. I actually wanted to be a forensic analysis.
What?
Yeah. I always wanted to like, I don't know, help in a way. And like, I would always watch the shows when they catch the guy. And I was like, oh, how cool. Like that technology. And so, yeah, that's what I wanted to be. Wow, I hadn't thought about that since I was a kid. But yeah.
Oh, wow. So wait, you were watching like Law and Order and NCIS and stuff as a kid?
Yes, I know. Yeah. But like, I thought it was so cool to have that like, I don't know, capability of like, okay, with the fingerprint or like, hair or something. So I thought that was always so cool.
Oh my God, you should totally still go into
I
that
know.
because that would
like,
be amazing.
How much time do I have? I'm kidding.
You have all the time in the world to do something
honestly,
like that.
honestly.
That's like a lifelong profession until you want to retire at
That's so true.
80.
Yeah.
Well, then how'd you get into volleyball?
So I started off playing basketball because I was taller. I had a big growth spurt and no one in my family ever had played volleyball. And I had a coach who was over my older sister in high school, and he ran into her one day. He was like, "You were so tall, like, where have you been?" And she was like, we had just moved to that school, and she was like, "Have you ever played volleyball?" And I was like, or she was like, "No." And then she came home and told us, and he was like, "Oh, you have sisters too?" I have a younger sister as well, and he's like, "You got to get them to try out." And so we tried out, never playing. I was in 8th grade. My younger sister at the time, we tried out together in 7th grade. And we got cut. It was so embarrassing. I was like, I didn't come out here for this. But it was, I think it was something that was like, I don't know, piqued my curiosity. And I was like, I still want to try. And so I tried again the next year and I made the team. But yeah, that was like my MJ story.
Are all your sisters tall too?
Yes, I'm the tallest. I'm 6'4". My younger sister's 6'2". And then my older sister is 5'11". So she's a little bit shorter.
What made you switch from basketball to volleyball? Was it just the curiosity and like the motivation after being cut?
Yeah, well, it was honestly, we did a lot of running in basketball and we did it in the off season and volleyball was in the off season. I was like, if I could just make this team, I won't have to run any more suicides, like awesome. No, but honestly, like I just wanted something else to do, something more. And I felt like volleyball was more authentic to me because it wasn't so like physical. And I like the idea of like still feeling really powerful and strong without having that physical contact. So the more I got to play, the more I fell in love with it. Like it was just like, it just felt so natural. So
I used to play soccer, and it was a similar thing, both with the physicality and the running.
Yeah. I can't imagine actually. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of my volleyball teammates that I've, played with, and even the ones I've met through you guys at Love, it's like there's something about the running.
Yeah, right. I know. There's something about. Yeah, I had friends that played soccer too, and they'd like, we ran up, like warmed up, running a mile. I was like, I could never. The goalie too, because that's kind of what I want to be. But if she is doing that too, never mind.
So when did you know that you were a great volleyball player? Not just a good volleyball player, but a great volleyball player.
Yeah, I started playing my freshman year, and I didn't like play club or anything. And then there was this shift of like, oh, you should, play in the off season. And I was like, okay, like, I guess. And then my sophomore year I played, and there was something that like clicked from my freshman year to sophomore year with my arm swing. And when I started to play club, I swear I'd look around like on my court, and I'm like, there are so many coaches here. And I was just having fun. So it was just like, okay, and, I don't know. And then I just got so many letters. So I was like, okay, like I'd never even had the idea of playing like past high school. I was still like kind of intertwined with basketball. But then it became this thing of like, I was getting recruited more for volleyball than basketball. So I was like, whoa, like I don't know, this is cool. And so just having conversations with coaches and the way they saw me potentially, I think that's what really opened my eyes to be like, okay, I can be really good. I have the body type. One of my college coach would always tell me like, you have huge hands. And I was like, I don't want to hear that. I want to have big hands. But yeah, I just think that he made me feel like it was something that I could really step into and own.
My club president was always like, you can teach a girl volleyball, but you can't teach her height. And I'm like, well, what does that say about me?
I know.
5'3" and a quarter.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah.
But it's true. I mean, if you have the physical attributes to be able to play, then it'll come more naturally to you, I feel like.
Yeah.
So why did you choose Purdue in the end?
So I'm from Indiana, and I don't know. The school in Indiana usually is IU. And so I didn't know a lot about Purdue, like super up north. And I remember I went on a visit, and I felt like my mom had to drag me there. I was like, I don't want to go. I want to go out of state. I want to be away. Like, but then I went, and I was like, whoa, like this is a whole different world. Like watching the volleyball game, watching how invested the fans were and how much they knew of the game. I was like, this is so cool. And I felt like it was something that I really wanted to be a part of. And so, and I love Dave, my coach there, and John and Kat, like, they're super, I don't know, they're like a family, and I felt like I could relate to that. And Dave and John are actually family. But with my sister and I was like, this is cool. Like, this is, I don't know, I just felt like it was something really special. And like I knew the Big Ten was one of the best leagues. And so I was like, okay, I want to be a part of that as well. So yeah, I think just going and experiencing the culture there really like opened my eyes. Like, whoa, this isn't just volleyball, or it's really like a family that I'm being added to, so that was cool for me.
And then your senior year, your sister played, right?
Yes, yeah.
What was that like, having the family dynamic on there?
It was so cool. Like I think that my younger sister and I were so close in age, and like I felt like we fought a lot, like just in sisterly ways, like just like whatever. And going to school together, I just felt like our relationship really grew, and just it was really cool to experience college with her, and like also volleyball and all the things that happened in between so it was amazing. And I'm grateful that in addition to like being a part of a family that I felt like Purdue was, my sister could be there and experience that too. So it was amazing. Like I'm grateful that Dave and John and Kat and all them like gave us all a chance, and I don't know, allowed us to be a part of that family that they're all in. So it was amazing.
Now, also in college, you did a big switch where you went from middle hitter to outside hitter.
Yeah.
So for all of the people watching this, listening to this, can you explain what the biggest differences between middle and outside hitter is before I ask you your next question?
Yeah. I get like middle is more just, I guess, I don't know, you're getting set usually on a great pass and like you don't have to worry about anything. You're just going up, the ball's there and you're hitting it and it's amazing and you're just blocking and reacting. And outside is a lot more technique and I didn't have that. It was a lot more outlet kind of situations, which I was used to just being in that perfect situation. So yeah, that was the biggest difference for me of just like, what other skills do I need to get, like good at? And it was all of them. I think it's just being a like more rounded player. So
I was going to say, what was that transition like? How long did it take you to finally feel comfortable as an outside hitter?
Yeah, it probably took maybe 2 years. It was really hard. It was one of the hardest things I had ever had to do. And I think, when I do camps or anything and the girls ask like, what advice do you have? And I'm like, look, you better get good at all those skills because you don't know when you're going to you don't know what's going to happen. It's just good to have. I felt like it just helped me to grow in being uncomfortable and confident in who I can be as a player because without that, I was just very much in my like space of I'm good at this and that's all. So it challenged me and I'm grateful for it because I've been challenged since that transition in, volleyball. And I don't think that if I would have experienced that before that I would have been able to get to where I am now.
So one of the other big things for to move from a middle hitter to an outside hitter is the middle hitter is always blocking and outside you got to play defense.
Yeah.
My tall teammates loved playing defense. Yeah. Did you like playing defense?
Yeah, it was more of trying to figure out how to hit the ground. I'm a tall girl, so I'm like, how do I hit the ground without busting my knee? And that was the big, but I really do like to play defense. And that's what I liked about middle is I like to go get the ball blocking and to be able to be more involved in the play outside of that. It was so fun. So I actually do like playing defense.
Did you figure out how to dive properly?
I did, yeah. It did take some bruised hips and knees, but yeah, it was, I know there were times I'm like, I'm kind of afraid to hit the ground right now. I'm not warm, but yeah.
I remember there were tournaments when I was playing, and I was like, look at this groove. Yeah. That's a battle scar.
Exactly, yeah.
And I proved my worth on that court today.
Exactly. That's so funny.
So when did you know that you wanted to keep playing after college?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I played with Annie, and I know we'll probably talk about that, but she was one of the first people that I knew that had graduated to go play abroad. So before I didn't even know what that possibility was because I was just so excited to graduate and go to school. That was my biggest thing. I went to college and, so that was amazing. And then Annie went to go play in Puerto Rico and I was like, you can play after and do more. It was so kind of hush hush. So it was around that time. And a bunch of other girls that were in the Big Ten, like Sarah Wilhite and Hannah Tapp and all those girls that were going to go play. And I was like, that sounds kind of fun. I want to keep playing. And, as long as I can do something that doesn't really feel like a job, I want to be a part of that. So, yeah.
Well, you majored in pharmacy, correct?
No. I started pharmacy, but it was, I'm communications.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
You're in comms.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it still says pharmacy on the U.S. Women's website.
Oh, really?
So you better tell them to change that.
Yeah, whoa. That was one of the hardest things I've ever tried to do.
I was going to say, because pharmacy is a very intense thing to do, especially while trying to play a D1 sport.
That was what it was, yeah.
So you switched to comms. Did you think that you were going to go into communications, television, marketing, something like that afterwards? Was that kind of your vision?
Yeah, exactly. It felt like something that was really natural for me and super fun. All the classes that I took, I was like, wow, this is so cool. And so I just wanted to stay in that. And then obviously in sport too, I was like, if I can do this and stay in sport or whatever, that would be so cool.
So how did you end up finding your first professional team?
At the time, it was so funny. When we were looking for agents, it was on Facebook. Someone's messaging you and hey, you need an agent? I'm like, this doesn't feel right. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, for what? Yeah. So there was a guy that I knew a lot of girls worked with, and he knew my coach. And so I started working with him, and he was like, what are you thinking? Where are you wanting to go? And before I had done a Big Ten trip to Italy. And then I had done USA, a youth national thing in Italy too. So I was like, I'd like to go to Italy. It was really cool. I always wanted to go play in Europe. I thought that it would be a really nice experience. And yeah, so he was Italian. So I was like, what do you think? And he got me a spot in the Italian League A1, and it was really, really fun.
So out of all of the time that you've been playing professionally overseas, what was your favorite thing to do in your downtime?
Oh, yeah, probably the first thing, just candidly nap. I was like, anytime I could take it. I didn't even nap in college, but when you hit that professional, I was like, if I can get 3 hours or 2 hours, whatever I'll take to, I'm gonna find it. But then also, like exploration. My first year, I had a Canadian teammate, and she was so cool, so nice. And she I think she helped me get out of my comfort zone. She was like, let's go do this, that, and the other. So it was really nice to have someone to go explore with. And so, yeah, just going to see new cities, trying all the new foods and everything. It was really fun.
Is there like one big memory or key adventure that you remember really well?
It was my first year. We went to Verona, and that's supposed to be the city that Romeo and Juliet met.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
my favorite Verona.
Yeah, I always ask. I'm like, is this true? Are these real people? But they're looking at me. I was like, never mind. But yeah, it was so cool. I actually went with my dad too, and there's a huge coliseum, and it was really easy to walk and like navigate. So yeah, just seeing that kind of like history and being like, oh, I'm here, and like being there with my dad and also my roommate and my teammate too at the time, it was really cool.
Now, you're overseas for months at a time, and you are obviously very close with your family.
Yeah.
How hard was that to be away from them for so long?
Yeah, it was really difficult, especially just with the time change. And then also like all the new feelings of like, I feel a little like homesick. And then I also like, I'm enjoying my time here a lot too, but like I want to experience it with my family. And I remember when I had first gotten to Italy, I kept having this reoccurring dream of like, we'd have an off day or off days, and then all of my teammates were like Italian, so they would go home. But in my dream, I would like talk to my mom, and she was like, why don't you just come home? And I was like, why don't I just come home? And then I wake up, and I was like, I had that dream again. Like, because it was the realization of like, I'm really far. So I think it was that, just like, even when I was at school, I could drive down and see my mom in like an hour, my dad. And like my sister was with me, but like experiencing all these things alone and just really trying to make the most of it, but also feeling a little lonely for sure.
How often were they able to come out? And how did you kind of get over the loneliness?
Yeah, they would come out once a year. Nice. And I would talk to them a lot too, but it was something that I realized like this is the transition of my life of like, okay, I'm phasing into probably just like, I'm not going to see my family as much. You know, so it was that realization of like, to pursue this dream, there are sacrifices that I have to make. But,
so you're an opposite hitter now. Did that happen in the international teams or when you got to the U.S. women's team?
Yeah, it started, I started to play pro before I came into the gym, but my first year abroad, I started to play opposite. So that was really hard.
Well, so you go from middle to outside, which is a transition, and then outside to opposite, which for, the people listening who might not know, that's when the setter usually does the back set.
Yeah.
So what was that transition like? Because now you've seen them all.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. It was really hard because also internationally you're playing 6 rotations. So even in college, that outside hitter wouldn't play the back row if we had a sub, and I didn't do that. So then transitioning from that, or like overseas, the level of play is just different. Like the rules are different. That's an adjustment in itself. And then like what's coming at you. I just remember like I can't even understand the game. Like I'm in the back row, I'm touching balls that are out because I don't have that court awareness. And so, and then also internationally, the opposite hitter is like a garbage man. Like they're taking out all the bad balls. And I thought I was taking out bad balls before, but that ball coming over you and you having to time it correctly. And so that was really hard of like, we need you to score and like also know everything else. Like, I'm trying. So it was a learning like curve for sure.
So when did you realize that like you could do this, that this was going to be your position and you were content with it?
It took a while. I'm not gonna lie. It was maybe after my 3rd year. It was hard. Like there were definitely doubts that I still had of like, can I do this? Or did I make the right decision making this transition? Or how long is this gonna take? I wanna figure it out now. But there's something about that, like I don't know, the process that makes it all more sweet when you do pick up a skill or figure something out, that I was like, okay, like the wait was worth it. And I don't know, I learned a lot. I grew a lot on this journey. So
I feel like a lot of people have doubt when they're trying something new, and a lot of people give up. So do you have any advice for people to keep going, to keep trying?
Yeah. I would say we're never going to be perfect. And I think that once I took that off of my shoulders of striving for that perfection, it made everything else just more like, I just felt more relaxed, because I had this pressure of like, it needs to look like this. And it wasn't. Like, nothing is ever overnight. And depending on what you're trying to obtain, if you're trying to go for something that you think is worth it, I think that if you are willing to, I don't know, like put in that work and that time, and even if you get 1% better each day, it's worth it. And you will see results. But yeah, it's all about just persistence and like coming in each and every day. The way you talk to yourself and approach each rep, especially, I think is really important. I think that there were a lot of times before that I was just kind of maybe going through the motions of just like, okay, I'm here. And when I really like switched my mindset of every rep matters, and if I can just get a little better each and every day, I know that it will pay off. So
I want to ask you some things about you as a person off the court, as opposed to a volleyball player. You have a lot of amazing tattoos. Do they have stories, or is it kind of you just love the body art because it's gorgeous?
It started off like that. I just think that I was like, I really like tattoos, and I wanna get them. And so like this first one is my mom and dad's birthday. Aww. And that was my first tattoo, and I got ripped off. Now that I've got tattoos, like, how much did I pay for it? And then I just like the henna. I think it's really cool. This one it says finally found. I got baptized last year. And so that one meant a lot to me. These are the coordinates of Purdue. I just enjoyed my time there. But yeah, it was, they vary. I don't know. They all vary. Some mean a lot, and some are just kind of like, I like the way that looked. And so I want it, but yeah.
I love it. The Purdue ones on your bicep, so you can be like, Purdue's this way.
Yeah, right, I know. It's somewhere up north, western, Midwest.
So you said you just got baptized in September. How important is faith to you, both as a person and as a volleyball player?
Huge. It played a big part in my time. I played in Brazil 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and it was a difficult time for me, like being away, and I had kind of felt like I'm not really enjoying this anymore, and I felt stressed, I felt anxiety, and so I was just like, something needs to change, or I don't think I can continue to play. But I knew in my heart that I wanted to, but something had to give, and that was when I felt like the Lord was calling me to Him. So in that moment is when I just went to Him and I cried out, and I was like, something needs to change, and I feel a pull. And so I think through my relationship with Him and developing that, I've experienced so much freedom in like volleyball, but also just as a human being. It's been amazing. Just walking with so much joy and love and peace. And yeah, I finally feel now that I'm doing this with a purpose, and not just trying to do what people want me to do or what I think I want to do, but just knowing that I'm doing something that I know that matters, and walking into spaces with volleyball being that avenue and trying to make a change. So,
is there something that you've done now that you wouldn't have done previously?
I think that I just allow myself to need help. And I think in the athlete world, we're so hyper independent, especially, being abroad. I think that was something that I really learned of, like, I don't really want to ask for help for anything. And I think that the dependency that I've had just in my relationship with God has allowed me to just relax and experience so much freedom. And so even in my conversations, in like my friendships and relationships with people, I'm not afraid to like need that help or just be vulnerable. And I think that started with that. Like it's been really nice to just like let go and like, I don't know, truly feel
you.
Yeah, exactly. Authentic. And yeah.
Well, speaking of like relationships, I was talking to Lauren about how you girls just seem to have so much fun. Yeah. If you look at any of your photos on Instagram or any social media, it's like
you guys have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And the one thing I noticed, though, is you guys have a decent amount of themed parties.
Yeah.
So for the themed parties, who comes up with the ideas?
We started that, I think, last summer.
Okay.
And it was Kelsey's birthday, and she was like, I want a disco theme. And I was like, okay. I have actually never done it. We're never home for Halloween or anything. But anyway, I was like, okay, like I want to dress up. And so it started with that. And then there was a cowboy theme. And then there was, I can't even remember the other one. I think it's just, I don't know, just letting loose and just like, I don't know, just having a lot of fun. I feel like we're just big kids.
Yeah.
And like we just want to like dress up and just laugh and dance and hang out.
I feel like the older I get, the more I want to do themed parties.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is
Yeah.
about getting older,
Yeah.
but I feel like you just want to experience all these things.
Yeah.
And it's like, and yeah, you want to be young. You want to feel young, and the theme
Exactly.
kind of reminds you of Halloween. Next time you guys have a theme party, let me know.
I'll let you know.
I love planning. You know, you guys can come to our party if you're going to probably be, at the Olympics when we do our theme party, but.
It's so funny, right? I know. You'll
We'll schedule one when you're around.
Yeah, for sure. I'll let you know too, our next one.
Well, I mean, you will sort of be around because now you're going to be playing in the States.
I know.
You're going to be playing in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So what does this mean to you, being able to play here, knowing that you're going to be in the same country as your family and friends?
It's amazing. And I think when the opportunity first like presented itself, I was like rubbing my eyes. I was like, are you guys serious? It was so like too good to be true, kind of. And I don't know, all of the people that kind of took the leap of like, let's do it. It was just, it meant that much more of just like, we're going to be a part of something super special. And like, we can make it what we want because we've been overseas and kind of playing in other people's systems and countries. And I think it's really cool and like finally about time that we get to like take the reins on something and like, this is how we do it in America. Mm-hmm. And so I'm really excited, and like my family too, just are so excited to be able to come and see me and regularly or just be on the same time zone. Mm-hmm. But yeah, my mom says we have family in Atlanta. I was like, we do? I've never been there before, but I'm excited to meet them. Yeah.
So you've never been to Atlanta?
No, I've been once for like a tournament, but I didn't remember anything, honestly.
So what are you most excited to experience in Atlanta?
I'm excited for the warm weather because I was up in Indy, super cold. And the food. I heard the food's good down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I've heard that too. I was only down in Atlanta once, and I didn't really get to experience any of the food, so I missed out.
Yeah.
But for you as a volleyball player, and with your career that you've experienced so far, what do you hope that? What do you hope will be your legacy?
Oh, great question. I just am looking forward to bringing energy into like the sport and into Atlanta. I want to be, I don't know, kind of remembered as someone who really looked like they enjoyed playing as much as they really did, because volleyball is an exciting sport, and I'm excited that we're bringing it here professionally in the US. And I think this will be the first glimpse that people see of actual like intense, real, high-level volleyball, and to just be able to like set that standard of like, this is fun to watch, this is fun to be a part of. And I just kind of want it to be that, like something that people want to be a part of in our communities and everything. So, yeah.
Well, what advice do you have for girls coming up in the sport that might want to continue playing?
The sky's the limit, really, now. Before, I feel like a lot of girls who played in high school or college, it's a really hard ask to be able to like, okay, I'm gonna go overseas and like see what this is about. You don't know a lot about the overseas like journey, and maybe you wouldn't like it. It's a lot to take in. Culturally, it's shocking. You sacrifice a lot with your family and just like a lot of opportunities that you don't get to have while staying at home. And so I think this opens up a door of like, you can really do anything. You'll see it in front of you, like this professional volleyball, and you can be a part of it. Like, as someone who got cut in 8th grade and kept trying and is now at this point of like being a part of something really cool, like, don't let anything deter you. You can do anything.
And based on your journey, especially with how you felt when you got to Brazil and everything, what would you tell girls who might feel burnt out?
Yeah. I think it comes with it. Like, you're doing something that you've been doing for so long, but what I've learned too is that remember your why, kind of like, why are you doing this? And I think once I got kind of rooted in that, because even at the times that I did feel burnt out or tired, or just kind of like, I knew inside I still wanted to play. I still love playing volleyball. I still had more to give. And I always kind of, I understood that when I was playing, like maybe, you know, getting ready to go to practice or doing things, it was kind of like, but once I started competing, I was like, I love this. And I'm fighting really hard for every point. And so just understand, like, do I still have that fire within me of like competition? And why am I doing this? Do I, you know, like, do I want to? Because most of the time we do. And maybe there's a phase that you just kind of have to pass through, and just once you get through it, it's like, okay, what did I learn during that? So.
Mm-hmm. Where do you hope to see volleyball in 5-10 years?
Yeah, it's really exciting now where it's been. And so, I don't know, I just hope that it's like one of the most talked about sports in the US, because I think it has the capability of just being really fun and exciting for people too.
It is fun.
I know.
Not can be, it is fun.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. And just something that really people want to be a part of. And I've noticed that just like rewinding back to my first college game when I went to a Purdue, I was like, I had no idea that this is what it was. And I think that it's something that just not a lot of people know. And now that we're bringing it here, and when they, you know, we'll kind of see, it'll be something that everyone is just like, how do I get in there? How do I, you know, be a part of that? So.
Were you on the sidelines of the Nebraska record?
Yeah.
So what was that like?
That was crazy. I remember I got chills, like just. And it's not easy to give me chills because, I don't know, but being there and seeing it, I was like, this is insane. And it was something, as someone who knows how cool volleyball is and loves it, didn't think was capable. And I was like, there's a need, there's a want. Like, people are wanting this, and I didn't even know to that extent. And I think that was kind of like a seed that was planted before I even decided to stay home, that I was like, oh, this is here. So it was so cool.
When you were playing, did you think that a college volleyball game could ever fill 90,000 seats?
No, I didn't even know the football could do that. So it was awesome. It was really cool. And to be a part of that too, I was like, wow, when we were like singing the anthem and the plane. Yeah, it was, wow, it was awesome. And I think Karch had told us this. It was like 4 of us that went, and I think they broke the record by maybe 4. I think that's what he said.
It was
so,
you guys.
Yeah, he was like, it was you guys. I was like, thanks, Karch, for making us feel so special. He really does all the time. I was like, wow, I'm happy that we were part of that.
Oh, I love that. That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Well, Danielle, it was a pleasure chatting with you. I would like to cheers and thank you again for coming on and having some pancakes.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching Serving Pancakes. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. You can also listen to the podcast version on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.